Professor B.R. Kamboj Saab, Honorable Registrar Professor Avnesh Vermaji, my friend and esteemed media educator Professor Manoj Dayalji, Professor Vandana Punia ji, and respected heads of department, deans, and participants from across the country who are participating in this refresher course organized by the Guru Jambeshwar University. Incidentally, Guru Jambeshwar University is also my alma mater. I did my masters in mass communication from Guru Jambeshwar only, like most good journalists do. In fact, Guru Jambeshwar is the nursery for journalism and mass communication. Even at the Indian Institute of Mass Communication, where we have postgraduate diploma program in English journalism, in Hindi journalism, in different streams. Though I have, during my tenure, upgraded it, got it into a letter of intent for a deemed to be university. Most of the students, for desiring for a master's degree, opt for Guru Jambeshwar University. So, GJU is a hugely popular with mass communication students across the country. And of course, you have had notable, educationists who have given guidance to the whole country. People like Professor B.K. Kuthiala, Professor Dayal, who have contributed immensely to the discipline of mass communication. So greetings from Asia's first media university and the beautiful lake city of Bhopal. I wish to congratulate at the outset the Guru Jambeshwar University's HRDC under the dynamic leadership of the Honorable Vice Chancellor to have launched this very important refresher course in social sciences. I think it is very important that we keep ourselves abreast with the changing trends in social sciences, because it is about the changes that are taking place in our society, because change is the only constant, and its implications on different aspects of our lives. How can we build, by understanding social sciences, how can we build a better society? So whether it is research or whether it is analysis or interpretation, the whole objective of the study is to understand the discipline better and to contribute to the emerging areas. Every day, new developments are taking place in society. And as a student of social science, and I consider mass communication to be an integral part of social sciences, of social science studies. When we talk about social studies, we are talking about Samaj. And when we are talking about mass communication, it is about Jana Sanchar. Jan means the people. It is about the communication with the people, by the people, for the people. Communication has today become an integral part of every aspect of our life. So the communication also, mass communication also reflects immensely the changing value systems in the society. It reflects, because communication or journalism or media holds a mirror to the society. Just look at the changes that are happening in the just last few days, whether from the point of history, from the point of politics. I'm just looking at it. Yesterday we had the hologram of Netaji Bose, which was unveiled by the Prime Minister at India Gate. 2 days back, the Amar Jawan Jyoti, the flame, was merged with the flame at the National War Memorial. Now, these are not just instances or just happenings or events. These have far-reaching implications for our society. Even something as mundane as changing or replacing "abide with me," the hymn played towards the end in the beating retreat with "Ae mere watan ke logon," is an indication of the changes that's happening in our society at large. We need to understand this. We need to understand that this is a process which in social studies we call as a decolonization. When we talk about decolonization of minds, decolonization, it is about, the symbols are very important. So, we have had a memorial which was a tribute to the fallen soldiers of the World War II. And now, we see that a process has been initiated where the focus has shifted to post-independent India, the heroes of post-independent India. These are changes which we need to understand. These are not incidents, isolated events. We need to understand that. Let us look at the films, because films are an integral part of mass communication. क्या हम 10 साल पहले सोच सकते थे कि एक फिल्म जिसका नाम टॉयलेट है वो सुपरहिट मूवी हो सकता है? Could you have imagined that a film by the name Pad Man could have become a success story? क्या आप इसके बारे में सोच सकते थे? This is a reflection of the changing outlook of the society, which we need to understand. So a film is not merely a film, an Akshay Kumar starrer. In fact, if you go deep into it, even a film like Mission Mangal, for me, reflected the growing scientific temperament among the masses. That आज हमारे जो आवाम हैं, विशेषकर फिल्म देखने वाली, and these are not OTT films, mind you. These were large screen films which were watched by millions. And when they went, watched the movies, they came back, it reflected that today people are ready to watch something scientific like a Mars mission, if the story is told in an interesting way. We talked about science communication. हम लोग कहते रहे कि साइंस कम्युनिकेशन में हमने ज़्यादा सफलता हासिल नहीं की, साइंस को लोगों तक कम्युनिकेट करना कितना कठिन है, लेकिन एक फिल्म ने दिखा दिया कि आप कितना प्रभावी ढंग से एक कहानी को बता सकते हैं और साइंस के प्रति लोगों का रुझान. कुछ वर्ष पहले कुंभ मेले में एक सर्वे कराया गया था. You would be surprised to know, during the survey and it is believed generally, the perception is that in Kumbh Melas it is mostly people from the rural areas who go to Kumbh Mela. और उस सर्वे में यह बताया गया कि अधिकांश लोग ग्रामीण परिवेश से वहां गए, एंड उनमें जो सर्वे किया गया उसमें यह पता चला कि अधिकांश लोग उनमें से अंधविश्वास में विश्वास नहीं रखते हैं. अबाउट 70% लोगों ने तो यहां तक कह दिया कि हमको भूत प्रेत में विश्वास नहीं है, जिनका सर्वे हुआ. And we always think that these are all superstitions. Rural people believe in superstitions. You see, these are all notions. There is a change which is happening, which as students of social sciences, we need to understand the massive changes that are taking place at the sociological, psychological level, the attitudinal changes that are happening. For you and me, the Swachh Bharat may be another government program. Couple of years back, I had gone to Div. Div is a small island along the borders of Gujarat. It's a union territory. I had gone there for some meeting, and during my stay, I visited a Portuguese fort. And on my return from the fort, it was sweltering heat. I thought that I will take an ice cream. I bought an ice cream. It's a very normal incident. But as a student of social sciences, I keep studying these things. I gave 10 rupees to the ice cream vendor. He took the ice cream, removed the wrapper, and gave the ice cream to me. I thought it is out of courtesy. But I thought I will get one ice cream for the driver who was also waiting. So I gave him another 10 rupees. He took the ice cream, again started tearing the wrapper. This time I felt offended, not honored. I said, जब पैसे तेरे को पूरा दिए हैं, तो आइसक्रीम पूरा क्यों नहीं देता? तो he said कि साहब आइसक्रीम तो आपको दे दूंगा, रैपर नहीं दूंगा. तो I said, अजीब बात है, रैपर क्यों नहीं दोगे? उसने कहा कि रैपर साहब आपको इसलिए नहीं दूंगा क्योंकि आप जो पर्यटक लोग हैं, ये रैपर इधर उधर फेंक देते हैं और कूड़ा करते हैं. जो कूड़ा करते हैं तो मेरा दीव गंदा होता है, और मेरा दीव गंदा होता है तो पर्यटक नहीं आएंगे, और पर्यटक नहीं आएंगे तो मैं अपने घर को नहीं चला सकता. फॉर मी दिस वॉज स्वच्छ भारत in action. If the common man has been able to relate himself to Swachh Bharat, and he felt that Swachhata is important for me economically also, for my livelihood also, Swachhata is, it's not just something fashionable. It is about preventing, saving myself from diseases. It is about my livelihood. The day the society understands this, the change will begin. That is the beginning of change. I can see so many such stories every day. Recently, I had traveled to Delhi. At the airport, because weekends these days there are curfew. It happened only 15 days back. I took a blue cab and the driver was a girl. Now this was not a pink cab which is available say in in cities like Jaipur and other places, a she cab. This is a proper cab service in which the girl had taken over and she was driving the car. And as a former journalist, I became curious and started asking her questions. She said she has been working there for quite some time. She talked about she earns about 25,000 and that she is treated at par with male colleagues. In the same day, I saw women who were attending petrol pumps, who were attenders at petrol pumps. and at different levels. We celebrate when women are inducted into the armed forces. But today, how women are entering into all those areas which were once considered to be male dominated or belonging to the males. How the society is changing and people are accepting. They no more stare at girls who are, working at the petrol pumps. For them it is very normal. A girl at the petrol pump filling your petrol tank is something very normal. I asked her that, have you ever, she told me this girl, cab driver, she told me she has been working for the last 5 years as a cabbie. Not just with Blue, but with Uber and Ola also. She told me not once any male passenger has mistreated her. Not once. Now, are we even connected? What kind of a disconnect we see when we talk about a lot of safety issues and other issues? Do these things also come into the discourse? That today increasingly women are getting into workplaces which were primarily dominated by men. These are changes that are happening. But unfortunately, they don't find a reflection in the social narratives. And unfortunately, the media is also so preoccupied with events and happenings that they don't see the underlying currents. They don't see the trends in the society. I don't see analytical pieces on the trends in the society. How society is changing. Whenever I go to a place for the second time, I start observing the changes. Changes in the attire of the people. Changes in the way the people maintain themselves. I remember during the peak of militancy in Kashmir, when I used to travel there, suddenly I saw a lot of people sporting beards and wearing that 2/3 pajamas. This was a reflection of the growing radicalization, which is now slowly changing. You could make out these things are an indicator of the changes happening in society. Are we observing them enough? Recently, today, particularly youngsters would know, and I'm sure many of you who are participating would have also noticed, almost anybody I have met have watched Pushparaj. Pushparaj is a Telugu film featuring Allu Arjun and Rashmika Mandana. She is now being called the national crush. It is not just another film. It is the growing acceptability of southern movies in north. This is a change that is happening. Bahubali succeeded because of its technology, or Ra1 succeeded, Robo succeeded because of the technological effects. But here you have a pure South Indian film set in South Indian background, with the men wearing the lungi, women wearing the traditional dresses, and the songs in the traditional settings. It's not a cosmopolitan film. It is about rural Telangana and Andhra Pradesh. So much so that you have now voices coming from Bollywood which say that today there is an increasing shift of the northern audience towards the south. And when I started exploring this aspect, and I spoke to a lot of people, I came to know because I don't have that much time because of administrative preoccupations, like the Honorable Vice Chancellor would know. But people told me that today in all the movie channels, the most popular are South Indian dubbed films. This is a change. This is a change which we need to understand as a society, as a nation. There's a growing pluralism. Till recently we spoke about pluralism in our textbooks. Today that diversity, that unity in diversity is actually happening. There is an increased instances which is becoming very common. Before the corona, I attended a wedding, a normal wedding arranged marriage between a Nambudiri Brahmin girl from Kerala and a Jat boy from Haryana, attended by family members. It was not a court marriage. You had, on the one side, it was such a beautiful sight. You had Haryanvi women dressed in traditional attire and Kerala women dressed in traditional attire. And they were all attending the marriage, sharing food and everything. This is increasingly happening, what was once an exception. For what was once considered to be the domain of court marriages. Today, more and more young men and women, as they continue to work, intermingle in the cosmopolitan cities, in school, in colleges, in universities, study together, work together. There is a growing change where people are breaking caste, regional, linguistic barriers, which is happening and which is increasingly becoming common. How much of media is studying this impact, this change in society? How many of us in social studies are studying these things, these changes which are happening? Can you imagine? I've been in Bhopal for 1.5 years. And in Bhopal, in all marriages, you have Punjabi songs which are played. This Punjabi songs as an integral part of the great Indian wedding is no more confined to Punjab and Delhi. It has reached up to the south. There is a growing acceptance. Punjabi songs have become so much an integral part of the weddings across the country, as much as idli and dosa have become popular in the north. These are the changes that are happening. How many of the people are actually studying this growing popularity of the Punjabi songs across the national spectrum? Not just Bollywood, but across the national spectrum we find it. It is impacting the societal outlook. It is like the butter chicken becoming one of the favorite menus in London, in downtown London. The food habits are changing increasingly. I have friends, corporate heads who work out of Gurgaon and who tell me that their breakfast is incomplete without the idli. These are changes that are happening. The food habits, our food habits are changing. How many of us have studied it or are studying it? listening to the music, what kind of music that we listen to, the change in the media habits of the society. How many of us still read the newspaper with the morning cup of tea? And how that change has started impacting. On the one hand, social media has connected us like never before. I have got connected to my school time friends with whom I had lost touch except one or two. Today I am part of their Facebook groups, WhatsApp groups, school friends. But at home, in a family of four members are sitting in their own different rooms and are using their mobile phones. No conversation between them. So on the one hand, we have got connected globally and got disconnected at home. We are no more engaging with each other. We are no more talking with each other. Even during lunch and dinner, we are on the phone. Few days back, a family friend's son got married. He brought the bride to our house, as is the custom, to familiarize them with the close family and friend circle. We all do it. Whenever there is a marriage in a friend's house, we invite them. Because what is the whole idea? That let the families come together even in the next generation. That is the whole idea. This girl came and the family was with us for 90 minutes. And during those 90 minutes, except for monosyllables, for 70 minutes she was on her WhatsApp. She hardly had any conversation with us. But yes, after reaching home, she sent me a friend request. So while we were in person, she had nothing to say. But digitally we are connected. Physically we have got disconnected. This is the irony of our times. Social communication, how it has changed. As a society, how are we communicating with each other? There used to be a time when in huge bungalows, they used to have intercoms. So that from bedroom, you can call up somebody. Now, 4 family members have got their own family WhatsApp group. Now they share information, thoughts, not on the dining table, but in the WhatsApp group. That is how society is changing. We need to understand these undercurrents. We need to understand these changes. And I would be really happy if in research also, when we go into research, are we studying these aspects? Unfortunately, I am sorry to say, whether it is mass communication or other disciplines, I don't see people getting into these issues which are actually the changes that are happening in the society. They go for I will tell you about social, in mass communication, the kind of topics that come to me. The impact of social media in the tribal district of so and so. Okay, that's fine. But why not the impact of social media in our family lives? How it is impacting our interpersonal communication. We need to understand this. We need to understand how we have changed the way we make even financial transactions. When was the last time you went to your bank? Today, even in the rural areas, Paytm, UPI, RuPay have become very common. e-governance, e-mandis. So while we talk about the farm laws at a larger level, what is happening at the grassroots level is something that we need to understand in agricultural families, the changes that are happening there. How many of us during that entire events leading from the ordinance to the withdrawal of the farm laws, how many of us actually thought of studying the changes, the rapid, radical changes happening in agrarian societies in terms of cultural values, in terms of taste, in terms of attire, in terms of lifestyle? How many of us have bothered to study them? We need to understand this. I'm sure, I think I have taken more time than that was allotted to me, but the subject is such that you get so passionately carried away by that. I'm sure we are all waiting to listen to the Honorable Vice Chancellor. But social studies is something that is so interesting. I believe that this refresher course will give you new insights into the changes that is happening as a society, which we need to understand, interpret, and preserve, record for future generations. I am sure that these deliberations will help you to come out with research papers that would be published in international journals, that would be cited to establish the changes that are taking place in the Indian society. My best wishes to all the participants, and once again my congratulations to the Guru Jambeshwar University of Science and Technologies, HRDC, for organizing this refresher course under the leadership of the Honorable Vice Chancellor and Professor Manoj Dayal. I wish you all the best and look forward to more interactions with GJU in the future also. At the end of the day, as Professor Manoj Dayal and Professor Sangwan said in their introduction, that it is really a great fortune for the Honorable Vice Chancellor to be the Vice Chancellor of the university he studied in. Similarly, it's a great fortune, good fortune for me also to address my own alma mater. Thank you so much. Namaskar.